Good morning and welcome to STEAM Cafe. Step right up, order your science-infused art or your art-infused science, whichever happens to be your fancy. Today, I always provide you, by the way, I am your host, Gillian Rhodes, and I always provide a menu of interesting guests, rabbit hole research, and sometimes some performances. Today, March 1st, 2021, we are doing a rabbit hole research episode. Basically, over the past few weeks, people have been sending me these links, and I have not opened them. And so I decided to be really lazy and be like, why don't I make an episode where I just open all the links that people have sent me and investigate what they're all about. In case you don't know me, I am Gillian. I've said that. I am a dancer, choreographer by profession, currently based in Lahore, Pakistan. If you would like to know a little bit more about my work, check out the links in the chat. I have been obsessed, and I do mean that, over the last couple months. Actually, the first 2 months of this year, I've had two giant projects that have just gathered all of my time and attention, and both of them are over now. So one was this grant project through the British Council for a project called More Than My Gender, which is part of this Women of the World Festival, and that video is screening this Saturday. It's premiering. It's going to be screening at another festival later in the month, but it's premiering on Saturday. And the festival is online, actually. So you can, if anybody is interested, you'll actually be able to watch the session. It's going to be a little early in the morning Pacific time, but it's 8:15 here in Pakistan, which means it's 7:15 a.m. in Pacific. Do the rest of the time zone conversions yourself. But if you're interested in watching, hit me up and I'll send you a link to check that out. And then the other thing that I was doing was a solo performance. Somebody thought it was a good idea to do a solo performance because I haven't done it yet in my career, and I thought it'd be interesting to try. So I did. I set it up and put some of the 3 of the best solos that I've made, and I did a solo performance, and that was last night. So today I'm a little bit tired because it was 3 15-minute solos with about 3-minute breaks in between each, but it was pretty, let's just say it took me like 10 to 15 minutes to walk again after the end of it. When I was starting the third solo, I just started the third solo and I was like, oh boy, I'm not gonna make it to the end of this. But I did, and it's over. I didn't have the turnout that I really was wanted in my dreams, but those who were there were very engaged. I got really good feedback, and that's that. But that's not why you're here. You're here for STEAM Cafe and for some science art. I have a plan for something, and I think it will involve science, but I'm not really sure. Let's just say there's a lot of balloons that are involved, and future Gillian already hates me. But that's not happening now. It's just that I'm slowly filling my cupboard with balloons, and we'll see what's going to happen later in the week. But in the meantime, let us dive into the rabbit hole. So I think from what I know of the little previews that come up with links, some of these are people that people have recommended to me. And some of these are articles that people think I might find interesting. And some of them, apparently one of them is an event. I am quite sure, in fact, I know that this event is already over. We're going to do that first because I know it's already over. I think I would have liked to attend this event, but I'm also sure that it would have been at a time when I was asleep, because that's always what happens with these, is that they're like, it's going to be at, 2 p.m. Eastern time, which is midnight here, and just not a time when I'm awake. But I'm interested to see what some of the other events are that they recommend. Creativity Jumpstart De-Stress with Art. Interesting. Creativity, Arts and Culture and Education, Teaching for Creativity. It's interesting. I think that would be kind of, I think it would be interesting if there were creativity classes, right? Not necessarily, I mean, obviously art classes are super important, and that's like something that should be a required class in every school. But like, what if we had creativity classes? I think that would be really interesting. Art and creativity, resilience building interventions for youth. That seems interesting. Celebrating women's COVID creativity in the arts. That sounds too specific for me. All right, moving on. That one is done, so it goes off the list. That was the easy one. I wanted to start with that because I figured it was the easiest because I know it was over. All right, this is a post on LinkedIn. I think I know what it is. Oh, this is the one. I probably can't show all of it. Well, it's only 30 seconds anyway. I assume that they're explaining what's happening on the sound, which I don't have on right now. Dancing in the Cloud. I'm guessing it's, wait a minute. I'm sure that somebody has told me what this is. I'm sure. I feel like maybe this was Ambius that sent me, and Ambius is in the chat. It's Ambius is the one that I saw. It's LiDAR used by automated vehicles, among other things, capturing a little dance. I should probably know this, but does anybody know what LiDAR is? Is it infrared? It looks like it's infrared. It looks like they're. Okay, all right. So apparently Pamela is talking in my ear, and she's telling me that it has to do with laser something, 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 which is what Ambius is saying too. It's laser something, something. LiDAR is like radar, but using lasers instead of radio pulses, like radar, but with light. Okay, so that's basically what's happening. These people gathered to do a dance, and they used fancy schmancy technology to capture it, which is cool. I'd be very curious to know why. I mean, I don't think you have to have a why necessarily, but I think it'd be interesting to know why. Dancing in the Cloud. I bet you it has to do with this title somehow. Let me just copy and paste that for later. I'll come back to that. Somebody probably created it. So to rabbit hole later. Let me just see if Google knows what this is. Oh, Google doesn't know what this is. What if I do it without? Nope. All right. Google doesn't know what it is. That's unfortunate. If anybody can find out what it is, applying your Google skills, do let me know. I'd be very curious to know. It looks like it maybe had been part of a project or some sort of thing. Ambia says in the chat, they probably wanted to show off the technology in an interesting way that might be interesting to people who aren't necessarily in the lighter business? Probably. That's something that maybe my brain just crashed. I'm tired, you guys. It was a big thing I did yesterday. So this is sort of running on low rams today. But that point of like, let's use the arts to attract people into other things is something that I've seen these science art collaborations doing a lot, which is basically like, you know, scientists don't necessarily know how to communicate what it is they're working on. And so that's when they get these artists involved. And a lot of like, I kind of hear this whole discussion of like, instead of just bringing in the artist at the end to like communicate the process, you know, let's bring the artist in at the very beginning and have them be part of the whole thing. So that's kind of interesting, but sort of serendipitously, that's the next link that I've opened, is this article on how to shape a productive scientist-artist collaboration. This is in Nature. Just looking back at the chat, Keeper of Maps is saying, LiDAR data sets are often called clouds of points because you get millions of points floating in space. That sounds interesting. It sounds kind of like what I'm trying to create with all these stupid balloons that I've started to fill my house with. So this article, I wonder how long it is. let me first see that, and then I'll decide how much I'm gonna read of it on stream. It is a long article, so I don't think I'm going to read. No, I'm not going to read it all on stream, but let's see the intro at least and see what it has to say. I'll come back after and later, in theory at least, I hope that I will open this again later. And it's something I've been following arts at CERN since I applied to the residency. They announced the winner by the way, and it's what's it called? The winner of the residency was this. It's not continuum. It's not collaboration. It's you know, the word for artists when there's not just one, whatever that word is. But no, it's not collaboration. It's anyway, I'll get it later. But it's basically a couple of artists that come together, and they're called Black Quantum Futurism, I think, something like this. And they're researching, I think, around time. It has something to do with time, and it has to do with, anyway, I'll look it up on Instagram at some point and talk about it on the screen. This is like, this is the stream today, people. It's Gillian being like, I thought of something, but I can't exactly figure it out, so I'll come back to it. Steam Cafe has a limited menu today, but we're gonna look at this. So let's look at this article, How to Shape a Productive Scientist-Artist Collaboration. So I'll just read this intro. Art can be a powerful medium for exploring the deeper meaning of scientific endeavors. Collaborations between scientists and artists are underway around the world, and daily postings to social media with the SciArt hashtag suggests that the often disparate domains are merging in fresh and exciting ways. So although many such collaborations aim to mainly engage and educate the general public about science, scientists and artists are recognizing that creative partnerships can turn science into captivating art. So this is basically what they've done, is they've sought tips from art-minded scientists and science-minded artists for launching and maintaining collaborations that can challenge entrenched ideas. I think there's a lot of the guests that I've had on this show, actually, I think would be able to speak on this topic very interestingly and eloquently. Um, because I think a lot of the guests that I've had have a lot of guests that I have experience in this as well. So I'm just kind of glancing. Somebody they've talked to was actually at CERN. Speaking of, I didn't know that when I started talking about that. And he's talking about how he spent 2 months at CERN, and people think that it's scientists teach the artists, but I really wanted to share my ideas as well as learn. I think that's kind of a main sort of sticking point between the idea of these collaborations is like who is teaching who and who is helping who, and I think it's this very binary thinking, which is very much like, you know, it's probably much more complicated and you know, fluid than we think it is. Like, you know, the artist helps the scientist communicate. You know, the scientist teaches the artist about science so that they can put it in their art. I think that's probably too simplistic. I don't have the brain power to read this right now, so I'm gonna put it into my bookmarks and read it later. And I will at some point tell you guys what I found out. But I think probably we're gonna move on to the people aspect. There's 3 profiles that people have sent me. Obviously, I will have to invite all of them. Let me just pop into the chat and see what y'all are saying. Ambius is suggesting company. It's not company. I will figure it out. Yes, words are hard, especially today. Man, I don't know what's going on, but my words are just not there. Okay, what do we have here? Meet the performance artist who's using data from the Mars rover to help NASA figure out if there's life on the red planet. Okay. She sounds amazing. She looks amazing. So Percy arrived. Could this be the first time an installation and performance artist has had a key role in such a high-profile NASA mission? I expect so. So her job was to help create a software, not a sophomore, good heavens, Gillian, through which hundreds of scientists around the world could keep updated on the science data coming from Perseverance. Her lengthy and multi-part title, should you want to know, is Ground Data System, Human-Centered Design Lead, Cross-Cutting Tools, Systems Engineer, and Cognizant Engineer for the Surface Strategic Office. Wow. I don't even know what to do with that title. So I think probably I'm going to have to just interview this person because I am not understanding from this article how. That's the main question. Systems architecture. Okay, so let's just think about this. Let's put the article aside. So she's talking about system architecture and she's an installation and performance artist. So thinking about this from a choreographer's perspective, let me put my choreographer hat on. Basically, as a choreographer, your role is not just to design the movement, but it's also to design how the audience sees the movement. So most of the time we're working with a proscenium stage, which is where the audience sits and the performance happens on stage. But especially with installation and performance art, usually you're not working in a simple proscenium stage. You're in a gallery, you're in a site-specific work. And so as the choreographer, you basically design how people are going to interact with the performance. So are they going to be looking down on it? Are they looking from the side? Like, where is the audience in perspective to in perspective to what's happening. And so, for example, there was a show I did in South Korea where usually there was a stage like here, and then the seats kind of went back here. But for this, my choreographer, who's a little crazy, built a ramp down where this, literally like a half pipe style ramp where the audience used to sit, with this uninterrupted sort of dance floor. And then he put the audience on the sides, and there was multiple levels. And so it ended up that there was like half the seats in the theater, but you had this giant ramp. And then he brought the dance floor all the way up as the backdrop. So you had this impression, basically, what people told us is it looked like we were in a spaceship. And since the title of the performance was Bit Sapiens, it kind of makes sense, because we were basically like, the future humans. Let's see. It wasn't co-op. Is there an acronym for that? There should be. I feel like it would be like, it would just win all of the Babies Awards like forever and ever if there was an acronym for that. And definitely no Ambius. It does not fit on a card. I don't know. I would, pity her trying to explain what she does. Just be like, I'm just here, the end. So anyway, getting back to the idea, she's a system architecture. Let me just read this quote and see if this helps me understand what she's doing. Once I discovered system architecture, I found that it was stimulating me in the same way as making art was. As an artist, you're trained to focus on the concept and acquire any tools and methodologies to research that idea. You could say that this is the core skill set of a conceptual artist, which is true. I simply applied all of that to this. This is interesting. I think I would like to reach out to this person and ask her kind of how these things are, related, how she's using these ideas of system architecture to kind of work into that crazy long title that she has, and how that goes. So I'll just bookmark that page and her name, and I'm sure she has a website which has a contact form, and I can slide into her contact forms and say, hey, come talk to me on Steam Cafe. Let's have a drink at the Steam Cafe. Okay, so this next one, I think this person's name is Lacey Brock. Nancy has definitely sent this person's profile to me before, for sure. And I looked at it and I was like, this is super cool, and I'm gonna bookmark it and ask her to be on my show. And then I didn't. I think it was at the end of last year where I was pretty useless and I had guests booked anyway, and I probably just forgot. But now she's been sent to me by another person. I think Beth sent this one to me. And now I have no more excuses, and I have to reach out for her. So let's see what she's all about. Lacey is an astrophysicist, artist, and all-around bird nerd. Love it. She resides in Tucson, Arizona, and is currently pursuing her PhD in planetary sciences and astrophysics. She paints artworks inspired by space and nature under the guise of stellar arts. A wordplay on her love of space and the name of one of her favorite birds, the Steller's jay. The Steller's jay is also my mom's favorite bird because they're super, like, I don't know, they're just loud and brash and interesting, I guess. We had a lot of Stellers when I was growing up. So she's a big birder. And so she's doing a lot of, hold on a minute. She is an artist member of the International Association of Astronomical Artists. Why don't I know about this? Let's just look at her portfolio while we're at it. International Association of Astronomical Artists. Seriously, how did I not know about this? The object of the IAAA, is that enough A's? As a nonprofit foundation is to implement and participate in astronomical and space art projects, to promote education about astronomical art, and to foster international cooperation in artistic work inspired by the exploration of the universe. The mind and imagination of the artist can go where a camera cannot yet. Interesting. I wonder about who started this? How long has it been around? IAAA, oh, that's much. Astrowise says, not sure if he is a STEAM Cafe or Daily Space person, but astrophysicist and musician Matt Russo is pretty amazing. He did a thing with TRAPPIST data, which was cool. That's interesting. I'll just add that to the list. I mean, if somebody is an astrophysicist and a musician, then obviously they qualify for STEAM Cafe. I mean, come on. Okay, so it was founded in 1982. They have 130 members representing 20 countries. I feel like an association which has been around for like 40 years. I don't do math. 40 years should have more than 130 members. Like, I wonder. This is find us online, but this is online. I am online. Membership roster. Maybe it's just that people don't know about it. I wonder. Okay, let's see who they have. Artist members. Artist members are persons who have applied for membership by submitting their artwork to a jury for evaluation and been found of sufficient skill and artistic vision to properly represent the IAAA and its mission. That is a grammatical mistake. Thank you very much. It should not be up an apostrophe. I think so I guess if I ever run out of people to interview, I can just come to this list. This is a handy list to have. Let me just bookmark that. I saw somebody from the United Arab Emirates, which I think is great. Whoever this person is that has not selected a country, I like this person. A lot of people from Colorado. Journey members are artists in training, and then there's students. Interesting. People who have a great appreciation for the genre of astronomical art, but choose not to be a creator of that art. How interesting. All right. Okay. All right. So this is, I didn't forget about it. We're looking at stellar arts. Oh, so this is her artwork. Wow. So she's obviously doing these hyper realistic. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, these are the bird pictures. Oh, these birds are so cute. They have stars inside of them. Oh, these are so cute. There was an associate member in Pakistan. What? Hold on a minute. I have to go back. Keeper has just said that there was an associate member in Pakistan and I missed it. Associate members. Wait. Artist members. Associate. Oh, yes, there is. Rayan Khan. I wonder who that is. Good reading fast, Keeper. When I was just blazing on by, you saw that. Good catch. Okay. This is Matt Russo, sonification specialist, creator at System Sounds, lecturer of U of T. What does the universe sound like at TED Talks? Okay. I'm not on Twitter, so I'm going to open his website. So he's the co-founder of System Sounds, a sci-art outreach project that converts the rhythm and harmony of the cosmos into music and sound. That sounds awesome. In 2020, I launched My Starry Night, which lets you gift someone the light and music of the stars as they appeared on any night from any place. Wow. A musical tour. Do you know what? I'm pretty sure that this System Sounds, they are this, or they, I don't know, this person, they created the sound for the piece that I did on the Trappist system. I'm quite sure, actually. Now that I'm thinking about this, like I definitely remember System Sounds. Astrowise says, I was reading about a group of women healthcare providers in Pakistan over the weekend. So much grassroots awesomeness. Yes. There's somebody contact. Okay, great. Let me just bookmark this because this guy sounds awesome. And I'm just gonna look at one last homepage. This is the last link that has been sent to me. I have too many people to reach out. Award-winning contemporary art. Okay. Oh, this person has pretty stuff. This is just pretty. This is the kind of stuff that I get lost in on Instagram. Okay, so she's from Australia. She obviously knows how to write artistic things in her bio. And where is this? This is not a good color that she's chosen for her text on her website. In addition to her abstract space forms, she works with several astrophotographers and compiles images that are then painted to represent real outer space phenomenon. All right. Well, she can go in the bookmarks as well. And looks like I have some work to do. I have people to email. I have an article to read. I have all kinds of things to do based on to bring some more people into the STEAM Cafe, which is fine. I also had a suggestion from Ambius to make a dance about the Percy landing. So that's something that I have wheeling around in the hamsters. The hamsters are wheeling around in the back of my brain, coming up with something for that. So maybe that will happen at some point if I don't get any of these people to come on for next week. But that's kind of all I have for you. Thanks for following me down the rabbit hole. These episodes are always a little bit scattered because I find things and I see things and you just kind of come down, but they are always very productive, at least for me. I always find interesting things and new ideas and new people to reach out to, which I then bring onto the show and bring you their ideas and thoughts and artistic process. So thank you for joining me today. Come back in a couple hours for the daily space. And you know how to follow, but in case you don't, the links are coming up in the chat. Join us on Discord, Patreon, all the social medias, all the podcast places, everywhere, and you can find us. You can find us there. Do support. We live on your support. If you're interested to know more about what it is that I do check out my website and my YouTube. I'll be working on some new content in the next month now that I am not snowed under in these big, giant, risky projects. And I'll see you next week. Come back and join me in the Steam Cafe a week from now. Bye-bye.